Hi and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jörg, which is German for George, here at Find a Job in Germany, Berlin. Today, I want to share with you some very important interview hacks. So what else you need to know when it comes to persuading in an online interview. Here we go. All right, so the scenario is you've gotten a call, and of course, you know, many companies conduct their interviews online, many before they invite you in person. Some without inviting you to come to the office at all. And this is basically because in today's world, of course, most of the hiring process is happening from abroad and remotely. And of course, it saves employers money and time, and it saves the candidate travel time. So this is, of course, very practical. By the way, in Germany, and if you're doing an interview in Germany, you can and you should always ask for your money back in the event that you're traveling there. That is typical expenses, such as like a second-class train ticket or something. But that's just if and for those of you that are, in fact, not here yet. Now, before we get into the essence, I want to share with you that it's really about three things: atmosphere, personality, and content. And you want to really pay attention to those three equally. I'm going to share with you what I mean by that. If you perform and deliver on these three, you really maximize your chances of success. And here's how. First, I want to talk to you about atmosphere. And yes, it's not very easy to create an atmosphere, but please be aware of how important it is, because you are, depending on where you're located, really far away. Atmosphere starts with being there on time, of course. That doesn't mean being there 2 minutes late or 5 minutes late or so. You want to be there 15 minutes early and really check your tech and know that the call is set up well. And of course, you better double check the message thread, the calendar, the time zone, really important, and the software that you're going to be using for the call. And there is only going to be this one chance for you to have the call. You can't go back saying, oh no, the email ended up in my spam folder. The interview was today. I didn't know about it. Well, that's too bad, because it's your responsibility to check, and that includes your spam box. And you know, you can be pretty certain that somebody else showed up on time, and then they are not going to really invite you for a second interview. So this is really your one shot, so you want to make that one count. Anyway, you check all these details and of course your Wi-Fi connection, for example, by making a test call to a friend if you're not sure, and you let them, you know, give you some feedback on whether you're visible well, whether you're audible well. And visible also means that the lighting in your room should be really good. I'm going to talk about this later. Atmosphere is also about being honest. And what I mean by this is that you really control the situation. That obviously means you don't want to do any multitasking. If you're using your computer and your phone keeps vibrating while you're in the call with them, that's already bad. If you start checking your phone, that's just disrespectful. Ideally, there's no noise coming in from outside or from within inside the room that you're in. So this is really also a matter of how you create that atmosphere of just being focused on them. One more important piece of advice I can share with you from my experience is that when you're in the call with them, you need to be able to perform some small talk in the beginning. And they might be asking you where you're located. Then don't just say you're located in Bangalore and then just leave it at that. Of course, they know that you are not located in Germany. At least that's when the information from your CV is already conveying that. So, of course, they're also trying to check you out for how you're going to respond to that question. And responding to that question would be, yeah, I'm currently actually in Bangalore. This is my home office, or this is my office. I'm working from home today because, and I'm also looking forward to this call. So you really want to moderate that part. You don't just want to be giving them one word or one sentence answers. This is really important. In general, coming back to the being audible and visible part that has to do with atmosphere. Again, you have to compensate for the fact that you're not in the same room with them, not in the same room as the interviewer. So please use a professional headset. And that will allow you to avoid any unpleasant hallway sounds. But the thing really with a headset is that A headset will always show that you're ready. It's a different appearance that you're making. And also, if you ask me personally, earpods, even Apple earpods, don't have the same quality as a professional headset nowadays. And we usually use Poly at the office, and this is the ones that we're recommending. I'm not getting any money for this, don't worry, but I can only urge you to buy a professional headset or at least lend it for the interview that you're having, because it's just making such a big of a difference when it comes to appearance and atmosphere. One more issue is about perspective and the way that you position yourself in front of your camera. By the way, don't use a phone, always use your laptop anyway. You want to picture the screen that you're looking into as a 3/3 kind of setup. You have the upper third, the medium third, and the lower third. Your eyes should ideally always be located or positioned somewhere on that upper third line. So this is where you can maybe see that there's a little bit of space right between your hair and the upper edge of the screen and the rest. And ideally, you're also leaving some space between you and the lens, between you and the camera. Let's talk about clothes here for a second. Naturally, it's dress for success, but you want to picture what that interview is going to look like, and you can really find that out also online. If you're applying with a bank, it needs to be more conservative than if you're, for example, applying with a hipster startup. I'm just giving you an example where the average of, the age average is maybe 28 or 30. This really makes a difference. When you're wearing something, make sure that it is a color that your wall isn't showing. So you should not be wearing a white shirt if you're sitting against the background of a white wall. You might want to really try out some color here. For guys, I usually recommend a polo shirt so you don't have to go with a tie or anything. If you really want to wear a tie, which I personally wouldn't say is necessary, your knot needs, of course, to be perfectly tied. And in any case, and this applies to anybody, you need to wear something that you feel comfortable wearing, because if you're used to wearing this, you're going to be much more authentic. And being authentic, and this is also something that in another video, Stefan, who I talked to in a previous recording, also really recommends, and that's being authentic. All right, so we were already talking about personality, besides atmosphere being the second most important thing that you want to consider when doing an interview. Personality, of course, I already talked a bit about clothes, really also has to do about how you're being perceived by nonverbal communication. And that, of course, starts with you enjoying the interview. And I know this is kind of hard for some of you to understand, especially if they're super nervous. I know people also in our coaching program, they freak out about the idea of having to do these interviews. And there's a way that you can practice doing interviews. That's the good news, really. But really be glad, be kind, be patient, enjoy, really. You have already caught their attention. Otherwise, they wouldn't have invited you for this first round. And formal qualification is surely not going to be an issue anymore as much. They're really looking forward to getting to know you. And that's also why this is called Get to Know round or first round, which is about a get to know. And they're going to be maybe pushing your buttons here and there, find out that human touch behind you. So again, you need to open up. You need to be able to really share your inner thoughts and seriously enjoy this. And they're also making room for you. They're making time for you. This is naturally where I say those with an authentic impression, who are just themselves and who are able to smile, able to have a good professional but also personal conversation, score the highest. Yeah. And then, of course, content really matters. And this has to do with personality, because it's you that decides how much research you're going to be doing on the company. And you have to speak their language. And I'm not talking about the German language. I'm talking about their product, their day-to-day business, their, let's say, industry. And this can be anything ranging from A to Z, artificial intelligence, to whatever kind of, Zapier integration that they're having. I do not know. However, know their markets, know their goals, know their figures, know their corporate culture. You have to do research on the company. Has your company or that company been on the news recently? And what was it about? Have you checked their YouTube channel? And what do you like about it? Because this will eventually also make an impression, because it shows how much you've prepared for it. And you don't have to go to the library and do some sophisticated research here. As in real life, YouTube, Google, they're surely going to help you out the most. Now, let's also talk about another part of your personality, or let's say how you should give answers right. And there may be a point that you're not able to give answers right. And that is okay. You're not a robot, so if you simply don't know the answer to a question, then it's about you showing your methodological skills, you showing how you would reach a conclusion in this regard, how you would go find the answer. It's about how you get there, okay? So if you didn't understand the question, maybe acoustically, then of course it's okay for you to ask them, I'm sorry, did I hear you right, or did I understand you correctly that you wanted me to clarify this or that? And then you can also buy yourself some time while you're repeating, or you're letting them confirm the question. Gives you around 5 to 10 seconds to also think about an answer that you can structure in your head. This is something, of course, that only happens in very exceptional situations, because ideally, of course, you're so good on that, in that subject of yours, or on the content that they're going to ask you about. But in any case, you don't have to worry about this. This is also them testing how far they can go with you, okay? I usually recommend, again, do the research before you have the call and be able to, I would say, position yourself, put yourself in their shoes as much as possible. And that is their corporate world. I want to circle back on one of the issues that I mentioned before, and that's the impression part. And I want to give you maybe one general piece of advice. If the call is set up for 30 minutes, you want to use the 30 minutes. Don't be done after 10 minutes. That's really not a good sign usually. And your interaction with them is going to dominate the impression. In fact, the first impression that they're going to have from you, and the first, let's say, important period of the interview that you need to score high, are the first 5 minutes. I would even say the first 2 minutes. That's a psychological effect. There is a reason behind this. People usually tend to make a final judgment, not final, but preliminary judgment about another person within a very short period of time. Sometimes it only takes people 10 seconds to make up their mind about you, and this is where you need to score. Again, this is also, where my other pieces of advice come in. Be gentle, be kind, be patient, be pleasant to talk to, be nice, be friendly. This is really something that I can recommend at this point in time as well. And finally, I can only repeat this. I would really encourage you to prepare some questions at the very end. Those questions show that you are interested in them. It shows that you really are interested in boarding on eventually. And from my perspective, the good questions are the ones that make good candidates stand out. Don't ask anything that is already written in the job description, because then I'll be saying, why didn't you read the job description? Because it's all there already. You want to make sure you're asking questions which are going beyond that. Of course, you can always ask anything that's of interest to you. Of course, you can always ask anything about the company. But in any case, do have 2 to 3 questions ready at the very end, if they ask you whether you have any other questions. And this is usually, I would say, the best way to finish a good first round, or any other round, in fact. I hope that this was useful to you, and if you like, then you can go ahead and also watch our video training to understand how we work at Find a Job in Germany. It's really something that I've come to learn over the years. Doing interviews is something you can totally practice, and I know that there's people that are freaked out by the idea of having to do these interviews, but once you're getting the hang of it, really, you are going to pass those rounds for sure. And then off to the next round, of course. That's the general idea behind this. That's how we work. Again, watch the video training if you like. We are selective, I need to say that, but there's always a way to try out, of course. Send us your CV and then book a get-to-know call. We're looking forward to meeting you. From Berlin, this is Jörg. All the best and see you soon.